Hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. I am Southern Wolverine and we're here on the launch pad with Lori and Ordos Kerman, commanded by the Honorable Jebediah Kerman on the Moho vehicle. And this is the same as what I tried to launch in the previous episode, except that as you see I've emptied a whole bunch of fuel out of the transfer vehicle, and I will send up a heavy refueling vehicle to go refuel it when it's on orbit. And hopefully there'll be some left over. There should be some left over in the center stack at that time. So we should only need one refueling run in order to take care of business. Man, look at that. Lori must be a buddy of Jeb's. He's just loving this. He's ready to go. Ordos a little more reserved. Maybe a friend of Bill's or something. In any case, SAS on. Throttle to full. 3, 2, 1. Lift off. We are lifting. Yes, we are lifting. It's still accelerating in a somewhat slow manner. But this should have enough power with the reduced weight in the upper stage to actually make it to orbit. Yeah, the previous episode you got a chance to see what happens when Wolverine tries to launch stuff without testing it first. However, this has been tested. This should be capable of making it to orbit. Sometimes just taking some fuel weight out of the upper stage makes all the difference in the world. And this, I don't mind so much refueling a rocket on orbit before it makes the trip. I want to avoid building up giant missions like I have in the past. Multiple parts, and you hear lots of rocket bits crashing down on the launch pad. I hope nobody was in that vicinity when that happened. Shouldn't have been. They should know better than that. As I shed liquid boosters very quickly for the first, minute or so of the launch. See, we're already out down to the last pair of boosters. And actually, I'm surprised that this is staying as stable as it is, because these asparagus staged rockets have a lamentable tendency to spin. For whatever reason, that doesn't seem to make sense. You still have radial symmetry, even with... now it's picking up a little bit of spin as soon as I say this. It doesn't make a lot of sense, because we still have a radially symmetric rocket. I don't understand. In any case, one other thing that I did from the previous one, I added a bunch of little fins on here, and you see them doing their best to maintain stability, which is maybe why I was not spinning quite as much as previously. See, they are all hard over trying to maintain orientation. So that might actually be just enough to do what we need to do here to keep this thing going straight. Now, looks like the speed is still taking its good old time building up. We'll just have to see. This should be capable. I'm not quite ready for a gravity turn yet. I said I tested this. However, even fully fueled, I have no idea if this is enough of a transfer to get us to Moho and back. I really don't. We're just going for it. Now, I will say that is a similar amount of fuel and a similar amount of engines, the same kind of those atomic engines that got us all the way out to Joule, of course, for the Laythe mission. So we should be able to get into Moho and back. Although things end up being a little bit different when you're going closer to the main gravitational body. In this case, the sun, Kerbal, and I should have started my gravity turn some time ago, I now realize. But as heavy as this rocket is, even with the fuel load lightened, it's a late gravity turn is not necessarily a bad thing. So we want to make sure we're up and we get speed going. That's number one. We also want to make sure we keep pushing our apoaps away from ourselves. It's going up nicely, and it's holding at 19 seconds. So at least we're not losing. I might have gravity turned a little bit aggressively there. Actually, we'll see. I'll leave it here a little bit above 45. All right, now we're pushing the apoapsis away from ourselves. That's good news. We want to try to get that to about 30 seconds or so if we can. If not, we'll just try not to lose time. Whew, alright. Looks like this is getting the job done. Look, I just... Jebediah is a crazy man. Look at him go. He loves what's going on. Alright. Come on. Settle it in. Settle it in. Whew. I just want to make sure we're not making any attitude changes, i.e. pitching, rolling, yawing, etc. when we get ready to drop this next set of boosters. Oh, okay, it's clear. Those those are quite tall boosters, and I'm always a little concerned when I'm disconnecting things that are that size, because you're just never sure quite what they're going to do. The good thing is when they're big like that, they don't tend to pick up a lot of spin when you eject them. And also I did manage to get the, you know, the... Oh, come on. Damn it, John. The disconnects. The disconnects are pretty much right in the middle, so that means the ejection force is not going to have a tendency to cause this to rotate, which is the way you want to do it if you can, so you don't end up having your boosters spin and twist when you eject them in such a way that either the top contacts the payload or the engine contacts the center engine, which would be bad for obvious explosion-related reasons. Alright, now that we're getting up into the upper atmosphere, I'm going to lay this thing just about on its side, and we should have more than enough power and fuel remaining to get this into orbit. I'm going to stay a little bit above the velocity vector, which will sacrifice a little bit of efficiency because I'm not adding directly to my velocity. But I just want to make sure this keeps climbing. I really want to make sure I get to orbit. It'd be embarrassing to fail again. That's really what it comes down to. Whew. These things are ridiculous, and I've seen people make far more giant and ridiculous rockets than this. And I however, would be reluctant to go much larger than this, simply because the program itself, simply can't handle a rocket that has too many parts. You start picking up lots of lag and all kinds of things like that. I don't really want to sacrifice frame rates and try to record video for you folks with a frame rate of like 2 or 3 frames per second. That would be just frustrating for everybody. Alright, and we'll let this get up to about 85 or so. Okay, good enough, I say. I'll say we made it to orbit. That's my really terrible foghorn leghorn impression, for those of you who know who that is. If you don't, look it up. I'm not going to explain it. Whatever, close enough. Now this is telling me we got an 8-second burn. However, we are going to drop these outer engines shortly into the burn. As you see, these engines are almost entirely out of fuel. So I'm going to assume that it's probably more like a 20-second burn, probably a little bit more than twice, since we're going to lose 2/3 of our thrust. So we're going to need to, so we're going to need to drop a lot, or add a lot of time to that maneuver. Oh, cannot. What? The ship should not be under acceleration. Let me fast forward, damn you. Alright, so I'm going to start this burn at T-minus 15 or something like that, and then if it proves to be a shorter burn than I expect, I can always back off the throttle. Come on. Let's go a little bit faster. Let's try not to zip past it like I usually do. Okay. Patience. Patience is a virtue in Kerbal Space Program. Come on. Come on. Turn, you big hog, you. Alright. It's saying this is a fast burn, but I have a feeling as soon as those ditch, we are going to... Oh, actually, Am I going to have a full center stack of fuel when I get out of the atmosphere? That would be pretty amazing. Holy cow, you have got to be kidding me. This went better than my test flight. I've got a full center stack. I can just about refuel this upper stage without even setting up a refueler. Excellent. Okay, well, I'm not going to make you guys watch my refueling. I'm going to go ahead and transfer everything I've got up to the transfer vehicle and see if that's enough to get us on our way. If not, I'm going to go ahead and send the refueler to the launch pad. Alright, I'll catch up to you guys in just a moment. Alright, here we are back with the vehicle on the dark side of the planet. So we got our ship lights on. Green for dock on this side, red for don't dock on this side, I guess. And look at that. We had enough fuel left to stock up this whole upper vehicle. Of course, these hopper tanks and these center tanks were fueled at launch. And there's even just a tiny bit left down there. So we're just going to eject those side tanks. Use what's left in the center stack just to move us away from them. And this will bring our orbit up a little bit. Every little bit of energy we gain will count. So you see it's doing some stuff. Nothing major. Alright. Thank you. Thank you, launch vehicle. We are done with you. I hate to leave any fuel left, but you're just throwing off my maneuvering with all this weight on the backside. Damn it! Stop with the turning, you jerk. Alright. Goodbye, launch vehicle. You have done well, but we have no further need for you. And before you ask, no, it was not necessary to set it up so that it spins like that. It was, however, cool. Okay, now that we're in orbit, I suppose I can do what I probably should have done before liftoff, which is check on the location of Moho relative to Kerbal. You guys can go away. I don't need you clogging up the view. Flags also can go away. Okay. Oh, so we are actually before the ascending node with Moho. That's actually just about right. So we can afford to get out. We'll get to about here-ish. Or here, I suppose, because we go in the other direction. Correct our inclination, and then work our way into Moho. So that is what I'm going to do, I think. Okay, so that means I need to escape from Kerbal in a general that way sort of direction. So I will commence a burn approximately there. See what this does for us. Let's just pull that out. Now it's doing an estimate for us. And I have no idea how close that's actually going to be because, hey, we haven't fired up this stage yet. We have no engines activated, so its math is bound to be a little bit off. But that looks okay, and it says minute and 40 seconds, whatever the hell that actually is going to end up being. I'm not entirely sure. Alright, I've already done a quick save. Let me do another one. I will activate the nuclear engines. Whoa, that's quite the sound, but they did fire up, so good news, good news. Now let's see how well this thing turns. I'm going to try to turn it without RCS if I can manage it, although... Oh, you know what? I didn't put RCS on the transfer vehicle. It's only on the lander. Okay, so I'm really going to try to turn without RCS then. It does seem to be working pretty well. I did put a couple of extra reaction wheels on. I got 3 of them on here, plus the main, Griffin class capsule. So we should have actually a fair bit of reaction control wheel authority. Alright, so it says a minute and 40-second burn. We'll see. I'll start this burn a bit on the early side to get a refined estimate. See where it goes. Let's zoom in and see if we can actually see what's going on. If I have to do this in 2 steps, I will, if it ends up being super long when I come around to it. But I think at about T-minus 2 minutes, I'll just do a quick fire up of the engines. let it recalculate, and see what it comes up with. So let's fire that up. Okay, so that's why we do things like that, because it says 5 minutes instead of 40 seconds. Alright, I'm thinking I'm just going to actually burn this. I started about T minus 2 minutes. I'm going to run it to T plus 2 minutes, and then that'll give me a nice elliptical orbit, and then I'll finish it on the second pass, and we should be just fine to complete this maneuver. Okay, so here we are, burning away. And our consumption rate's not too bad, not quite 14 units of fuel per second. At that rate, this fuel should last some time. See, you don't even see it visually dissipating over here yet. That's how little we're using. It looks like a lot when you look at this tank, but keep in mind, this is the smallest tank. It's only the first set of tanks. And there is our leftover debris, which we are leaving behind. We can clean it up later. We have vehicles with grabbers on them that can come up and stow these things, whatever. We're not worried about that. We are on our way, and they're all sort of enjoying it right now, actually. And as soon as I say that, of course, they all get straight-faced and businesslike. They were listening to me, apparently. This is changing slowly, but it is changing. This vehicle apparently has a fair amount of power, actually. A thrust-to-weight ratio. Yeah, I suppose by whistling that I'm sort of dating myself. I suppose I'll have to come up with some sort of prize to whoever guesses that first in the comments where that came from. Not you, Sarah. I know you know where it came from. I suppose we should just come back to this after this burn is complete, since we've still got some time left. So I'll see you momentarily. Okay, so as you see, we did loop around, did not complete the burn in a single shot. I still have about 1 minute and 30 seconds left on it, as we are whipping back around to our burn point at the what is now our perigee, what the game calls the periapsis for whatever reason. So we are going to start our burn at T minus 45 seconds. 45. Give or take. Okay, come on, baby. Come on, don't pass it, don't pass it. Okay. A little early is better than a little late. So we're gonna light it up. Light it up, baby. Okay. See, we did burn through this first tank, but that's only 1/3 of our first pair of fuel tanks. Our first pair of atomic boosters, if you will. So it should be okay. Fingers crossed. If I have to send a rescue, whatever, I send a rescue. But I think this should make it to Moho and back. Only one way to find out, I suppose. Only one way to find out. Oh, and we're going right into sunrise on Kerbal with a nice mountain there on the horizon. I do like sort of vistas and things you get in this game. It looks much better than it did in the earlier versions. Nice horizon and all this kind of blue atmosphere you see. Enjoy it, boys. This is your last look of home for quite a while. Quite a while. This probably won't end up being as long as Bob's mission to Laythe, although that was like a 3 or 4 year mission, so that's not saying much. But this will probably end up being a couple-year mission, maybe 2 years by the time it's all said and done. So I hope you brought your spare underpants, because it's a long ride back to get them. I'm not the only one who does stuff like that, right? When I'm driving back home, which is, you know, like 1,000 miles away, inevitably I get about, you know, 50 miles away from from here and realize that I've forgotten something that I meant to bring. And then I have that debate. Well, it's only about 50 miles. Is it worth going back for? And then I usually say, screw it. I'm already, 45 minutes or an hour in. I'll just have to do without. Or if it's that important, I'll just buy it there and buy a cheap one, toothbrush or something, stupid stuff like that. Or did I remember the phone charger, that kind of dumb stuff. So anyway, Jeb seems to have remembered his phone charger. And he is on his way to Moho, which will be the first planet he's visited in some time. I believe he was on one of our previous interplanetary missions. Whatever, if he wasn't, he's finally getting to go on his first interplanetary mission. In any case, I'm just jabbering now, so it seems like a good time to end the episode when I lose all coherency. So we see what we can accomplish next time in terms of getting an encounter with Moho, landing on it, planting a flag, because you can't really do much in the way of science because I didn't put any science on this vehicle, and coming home. Alright, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please do hit the like button on the video, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, throw a party for it, whatever you want to do. I am Southern Wolverine, here in orbit, not in orbit, leaving orbit of Kerbal, on our way to Moho with Jebediah, Ordos, and Laurie Kerman. All four of us would like to wish you a good day.